down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of Talk Bloody to Me. I'm Matt,
And I'm Breezy.
and tonight we are joined by Jake C. Young. We're very excited to have him here. He's here to talk about his new movie, Daylight to Dark. How you doing, Jake?
Hey man, what's going on?
Oh, we're just trying to stay warm here in the frozen wasteland that is Minnesota.
Yeah, I feel you. Feel you.
So, Daylight to Dark. We saw this movie. How did you get involved in this We saw the trailer, I should say. We didn't see the movie. How
Yeah.
did you get involved in this project? How did you get interested in this? And
So I guess the best way to kind of explain it was, I'd been wanting to do a film like this for a while. This was this role that I actually played in the film was something that was something I've always kind of wanted to do. Kind of
Mhm.
got the westernish vibe, sort of
Yeah.
a horror theme. And as I began to develop the story, I started working on it, and it kind of took inspiration from movies like The Lost Boys, some
Oh,
of that
yeah.
classic fun horror stuff, and like Fright Night, and all those classic things. But as time began to go on, I had actually I come in contact with a guy named Rollin. Rollin is actually he's a writer, and
Okay.
he's been in the, I guess you would say, in the film industry for going on like 20 years. And he and I kind of got acquainted, and we kind of had this talk about a film he had actually wrote several years ago back in the 90s called An American Vampire Story.
Okay.
So yeah, so this movie starred Carmen Electra and
Oh, yeah.
Adam West. Yeah, and so we began to go about and develop it. I was like, Roland, I really loved that film, and there was talks about a remake, and he's like, instead of doing that, he's like, I like what you got here so far, and so I sent him the treatment, and we looked over it, and so it ultimately, as Roland took off with it, it became a spinoff to the American Vampire film. So this movie is actually a spinoff of the 1997 classic An American Vampire Story.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and
Okay.
if you watch the two back to back, you'll pick up on a lot of references to that movie all throughout Daylight to Dark. So yeah, that's kind of how I got involved.
Mhm.
I've been a filmmaker now for going on like 10 years. I've
Oh,
got
yeah.
to work with some really cool people in the past. I've got to work with Diane Franklin from the Amityville movies.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she played Patricia Mortelli in Amityville 2, which I think is like the best one out of the whole series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you agree? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
so
pretty sure Matt hasn't seen it. Have you,
I
Matt?
haven't seen Amity. No, sorry.
Oh,
no,
okay.
what is
I'm like
this?
What?
I'm like trying to like nod and like don't call me out on it, and then you call me out on
Yeah. Well,
Hey, what are friends for, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah, but I got to work with her. I got to work with Nancy Ritter from Scream. That was really cool. And actually, in this film that I just wrapped with Daylight to Dark, Tuesday Night from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 makes plays a role in
Oh,
this.
cool.
So it was really cool to get to work with her, and just kind of bounce off of each other, and just make it really come to life. So that was really cool.
Nice.
Nice. So I like when I was watching like the trailer for this morning, I really picked up on like somebody in that trailer said wormwood or wormworld. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that reminds me of Tremors.
Yeah.
So I was like watching, I'm like, is this gonna be like a Tremor, like kind of like a Tremors vibe? And you like you said, it's like a Western. So like, okay, Wormwood and then Western. There's a
Yeah.
little comedy in there, isn't it?
Oh, so actually, this movie is probably 80% comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's about 80% comedy, 10% horror, and then the rest is just having fun.
Nice.
so
Yeah.
so
Gotta have a
it's
little of that.
yeah, the film is actually listed as a comedy. It has some serious tones, serious notes to it. But it's a comedy. So there's a lot of really fun moments in there, especially if you're um a horror fan that, and you like the vibe of the two, kind of like, as I said, the Lost Boys, or
Mhm.
movies like that, like Once Bitten, those goofy horror movies, but they've got a lot of comedy to them. So it was a lot of fun to do.
Mhm.
Was this a release in October of last year?
Yeah, so it was actually that was its premiere date. The film itself has not yet been released to streaming. It is currently in the process of being released right now to all the major platforms like Amazon, Tubi, Google Play, uh, Plex, all of those in there. It's actually in the process right now, and then it's going to be released to physical media. With all major retailers like Walmart, Target, etc., things like that. But yeah, it is currently in the process of being released, so we're expecting it, a pretty decent fallout of release coming in the next, probably the next couple of months or so. But what I'll do is, since you guys are really cool, I'll actually send you guys a screener to check out the movie and maybe even like do a review on it or something
Oh,
if you
Oh
guys.
yeah, awesome. We love that.
Yeah, yeah. I just
nice.
because I really want you guys to see it, and that way you can be like, oh, hey, yeah. So everybody has so far really enjoyed the trailer, said it looks really fun.
Mhm.
But the movie itself, it's actually we've submitted to go to Tribeca with it. So I
Oh,
mean,
nice.
yeah. They I just done another interview today, with a guy that was asking me all about it. We were. Just talking, and it kind of came up, and I was like, yeah, man. I was like, that's huge, to go to Tribeca off of an indie film. So it's really cool to know that something like that got entered into one of the biggest film festivals in the world. So whether it makes it
Wow.
or not, we'll see. But I really enjoyed it, and I think everybody that watches it is at least they're really gonna enjoy the time that they spend watching it. So.
Yeah.
Ni-
Have you done any movies prior to this?
Oh
Prior
God.
to
Oh
Daylight to Dark?
yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah. So I've done about, man, I got to think about this one. I've done about 5 movies.
Because you said you were
Oh
working like
wow.
about 10 years, correct?
Yeah, yeah, I've been
Yeah.
doing this for a while.
Mm.
I made a film called Screecher the Lagoon.
Well, that just
Um
sounds good.
yeah, it's like
What did you say, creature or screecher?
Screecher. So
Screecher.
it's like a predator-ish type thing. That was one of my first films I ever done. It's got pro wrestler Bill the Superstar Dundee in it. He's in the film. It's kind of like one of those really cheesy late night movies. It was like one of my
Yeah.
first ones I ever done. Like I think there's a review on YouTube, and the guy's like, it kind of just seems like these guys got a camera and went and made a movie, and I was like, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
I was like,
sometimes when you just grab a camera and start, recording, it makes it big. You never know.
and it's on all the major platforms too. So people, for whatever reason, kind of like it, I guess. So
Mhm.
as long as people keep watching it, I'm gonna keep making them. So,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, I've done that film. I made another film not long after that. Um, I made one called Boone. It was about Daniel Boone. I don't really count that in my horror trilogy of films.
Right.
So after that one, I made a movie called A Night of the Undead. So
Okay.
it was actually a spin-off, I guess you would say spin-off. It's a direct sequel to George Romero's original Night of the Living Dead film.
Oh,
And
nice.
I got to direct that. That was really, really fun. A lot of horror elements in there. We didn't go like super, super like repetitive zombie killing. And that one, it seemed to, it really took off. It's currently, I think it's on, all the platforms and like Screambox, and they've done a lot of stuff on that. That took a lot of creativity to kind of come up with stuff like that. It was kind of inspired by the COVID pandemic, and then
Oh,
we
yeah.
we started throwing in little references to the original Night of the Undead or Night of the Living Dead, And as time went on, see, we were actually going to call the movie Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
But yeah, as time went on, it kind of like there are so many remakes of that
Mm.
movie
Yeah.
that like, we kind of come up with a different title that set it apart from it, like all the rest of them.
Hmm.
And ultimately, it turned out really good. We even got to like recreate a few scenes in the movie from the original. It was
Nice.
really fun time. So after that one, I made a film. Made a film called The Dark Room, and that's where I got to work with Diane Franklin.
Okay.
It's currently on Screenbox. It's like a kind of analog horror style.
Oh,
It's
nice.
yeah, it's a very. It's got. I took a lot of inspiration from Quentin Tarantino on some of
Sure.
these movies. Yeah, because I mean, who doesn't love Quentin Tarantino? Like those movies
Right.
are just crazy as hell, you know. So like,
Yeah.
That comes through in the daylight to dark or the excuse me, dark to daylight trailer
yeah, right,
too.
yeah.
Get that
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino vibe too.
And that's kind of what I was going for on that too. But as a director, I done that movie like you can see the grain running through the screen. Wanted it to have like that '70s feel of like classic horror to it.
Hmm.
It's more of a passive horror film. Definitely some blood, definitely some murders. That one's a really good flick that I really enjoyed making. Then, of course, I went to Daylight to Dark, which is what we're on to now. And as of the end of this month, I'm launching an Indiegogo campaign for the next project, which is based on a real life haunted church that's here in my area, and we're kind of doing a steampunk horror vibe thing, combining the two. So it's that's what's up next. Just go.
Ooh.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's it's going to be a different type of film. It's not like the typical classic films, but it's definitely you're going to feel the horror elements. I actually showed it to someone. They're like, "Dude, this is an A24 movie." I was like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I really enjoyed this past film I just done. So that's a little overview of me and some of the filmography I've done independently. Before that, I actually done a lot of I done a lot of stuff in California. That worked on a lot of professional movie sets and stuff. And as time went on, I kind of decided to come back to my hometown here in Kentucky and just kind of start from there because streaming kind of changed the world on a lot of that. So
Mm.
That's for
I've
sure.
got yeah, man, I've got to meet a lot of really cool people and work with people that I never thought I would get to. Just done a convention this past year. David Howard Thornton was there. All
Nice.
the guys from the Stream and
Mhm.
Terrifier, and it's really cool to see indie filmmakers who are starting to get a lot of recognition because we're the little guys.
Mhm.
We're always in competition with those big studios, but I feel like especially with everyone who's a horror fan in general or anything. I feel like it's starting to take over. I mean,
It
Yep.
you feel it, right?
Yeah, like especially just in the last year or so, it just seems like it's really taken off big. And if you look at Terrifier 3 and how it performed at the box office compared
Right?
to all these blockbuster movie, like Borderlands and the frickin' Craven the Hunter and all these movies that were, all this budget and everything were supposed to be so fantastic and they just bombed, but yet Terrifier 3 goes out there and just slays at the box office. So,
Right. And that's like those are my guys. Like I'm right there, like
Mm.
yeah, like
yeah.
we done it.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was actually when we done the Night of the Undead movie,
Mm.
we showed it in a couple like a select handful of theaters. The one here in my actual local town, which might have had a lot to do with it, but we actually had outsold every movie that year, like Barbarian at box office and everything. The only thing that killed us, which was so which was actually kind of an honor to get cinematically killed, was the last Halloween movie that came out. So we got
Oh,
cinematically killed by
Yep.
Halloween Ends. So, but that was still pretty cool because they actually held it over an extra week because there were so many people like in demand to go see it. So that was like my Terrifier moment. Like a
mhm.
film that I made was in demand that high. So I was like, hell yeah, So
Yeah.
Mhm.
we that was really cool to get axed out by Michael Myers. So.
Did you ever have like a happy accident kind of moment making a film where something went didn't go according to plan, but you actually liked how it turned out, so you left it in that way, or anything along those lines, or is it always pretty smooth sailing?
No, that's about every movie I've ever done.
Right. Yeah.
You have an idea and you kind of
Mhm.
try to go for that. It don't always work, but it
I
works in the
I
way that it
I
should, you know?
Yeah, I
Exactly.
can understand where you're coming from because I've done, well, this movie, I did a movie back in summer and it's actually going to re get released in hopefully, and he said in February. So, and I said, just kill me because he took like a big, huge, like pole type deal and he just shoved it right down to the other actor and through me. I was like, I really like that killing
That's
scene.
awesome, dude. I would
I
love to see
love it. And I was just sitting there just like choking on my fake blood.
that.
It's just like so yeah, that's coming out too. So yeah, I can understand where
Right.
you're
Yeah,
feeling and stuff.
100%. Hey, what's the name of that? I would love to check that out.
Oh fuck. I don't I forgot because it's
Oh my God, no.
We'll have to put
I
it in the
know.
comments or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
But
know.
everybody check this Breezy's movie. That's what we're gonna call it right now. The Breezy
yeah.
film.
There
That's
there's one, it's
Untitled
called,
Breezy Project.
oh
yes.
yeah, okay. There is one, it's like a short YouTube clip, and that is actually made me look that up because that was actually a couple years ago.
All
It's like
right.
it's like I'm like turned into a zombie um and
Yeah,
then I
that's
got
like
infected and then I got died. I
so
killed myself.
like yeah, so she basically just described YouTube.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
was yeah, that was like every video on YouTube. But no, I'm like super excited to see that now that I
I
love checking out other people's stuff and just kind of supporting my other filmmakers and I just it's really cool to see people get creative with that stuff. So I'm always like super into checking out other people's stuff.
so I
Mhm.
believe the movie's Henry Hills. Don't quote me on it. That this movie, the new one.
Henry Hills. All right, cool.
I
Interesting.
believe so.
All right, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna check that out. Henry
So the episode that I was in, it's called The Rotting.
The Rotting. Ooh,
The
nice,
Rotting, yep.
nice.
So you mentioned
But look up Keith Bridges.
Keith Bridges. Is he like related to Jeff Bridges?
that's what I was
That,
thinking too.
Yeah, right.
that I don't know.
Yeah.
But look him up on YouTube and then go down to Henry Hill's trailer movie 2023.
All right. Cool. Cool. Yeah.
That should be it. And then one I'm in is The Rotting.
Sweet. Yeah. I've got it wrote down here. I'm gonna check that out.
Awesome.
So you mentioned Fright Night and Once Bitten and Lost Boys and Quentin Tarantino. I mean, those all sound like winners to me. How can you go wrong with that?
Like so that was also another thing. Like trying to step into these shoes. Look, I'll give a few spoilers about the film without
Okay.
giving anything crazy away. So my character, his name is Jonah Helsing, which I based this character off of a mentor of mine. I based it off of like sort of that High Plains Drifter feel,
Mhm.
and I'm often actually credited as Jake Eastwood on a lot of stuff. I used that as a stage name when I first got started. But it was that's who I based this character off of. It was really really interesting to kind of step into those shoes, and it was really interesting to in the film my character. You definitely want to go watch the American Vampire movie before
Mhm.
checking this one out. It's 1997. It's like free on YouTube. It had Trevor Lasur in it, from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. This is like the first movie Carmen Electra ever done, and
That's awesome.
Adam West. Adam West plays the big Kahuna. I don't know if you've ever seen it,
Yeah.
but it's like,
Adam West is gold no matter what he does.
oh, dude, and he's like a vampire killer. So in this
Right.
film, I'm actually like, so I can't 100% like officially say that I was trained by Adam West, but
Right.
it like in the film we insinuate I was like one of his students of that universe.
Nice.
So like stepping into, something like that, like how do you step into a role that, it's your predecessor was Adam West,
Right.
like
Exactly.
I like there's a line in the movie. I'm talking to, one of the kids, in this film. It's like The Lost Boys, and Drake Daffern, who plays the lead. He's he's great. But we were, in the film, we're talking, and he's like, the big kahuna, are you joking with me? And I'm like, hey, think what you want, but this guy was like the Batman of vampire hunting. So it's just
Nice.
like we have a couple like little nods in there. But yeah, this film was not like anything I ever done before. So trying to pull all of those elements into a film like this, of all what I consider like great movies, and great filmmakers, great artists, trying to put all that into this, that was a challenge.
Hmm.
But ultimately, as we just kind of said, I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Nice.
Have
Well, we're just about out of time, so we'll
hold
have to
on,
see.
Matt. Hold on, Matt.
Okay.
Uh,
Not now, Matt.
Yeah.
hold on, Matt. So when I was on the IMB, didn't you work with Kenny?
Guffey?
Kenny Guffney? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So he was a producer on this project. He and I actually used to we made several films together. But now he's kind of going off. He's actually gone to do his own thing.
yeah. We just
Yeah.
had an interview with him and a couple other people.
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, him, and I think Denny Kidd. I know Denny really well. I think they're doing like their own thing now. Kind of just doing like a Fright Night and things like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I hope they really pull off something really cool too, with what they have. Wish them the absolute best of luck with that, because that seems like a really cool project. And Rollin is actually making an appearance in their project too, which is the guy that wrote the American Vampire. So yeah, I've worked with them in the past.
Yeah,
Nice.
they're really nice people that we interviewed them like I don't know a couple weeks ago. It was in December.
Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't
Yeah.
not too long ago. Um, all right. Any final thoughts? We just got a couple minutes left. Anything you want to say, Jake, before we wrap up?
No, only thing I want to try to plug is, definitely when this film comes out, if you guys will give it a watch, support it, check it out. It'll be available everywhere. It's Daylight to Dark. And then if you want to follow me on my socials, I'm Jake C. Young official, Jake C. Young underscore official on Instagram, Jake C. Young or Jake Eastwood on Facebook. You can check out like my newest projects I got coming up.